Now, your work, your potential thesis that you're constructing and stuff right now is incredibly interesting, and I am excited to share that with people that are listening because it also weaves in your past history as well. So would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually am very, very interested in the identity of athletes. And so what I really want to look at is the developmental piece of that identity when they come into college, and then how does it look when they're leaving college and no longer quote-unquote considered an athlete and when they're retired from sports. And I just want to see what that identity transition looks like and what are the mental health applications. Being a counselor, what have our implications look like for that? How can we help them through that transition of I'm an athlete, I've always been known as an athlete, and now I've graduated and I have to find a job outside of sports, no longer having a coach talk to me every day, and it's a very different lifestyle. And I want to see if there any way as a mental health counselor to be able to assist in that transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is important to you because that was your journey, right? Like you were a collegiate athlete and went through that.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to play college basketball at Waynesburg University, where I got my undergraduate degree. And it's very hard because you're wrapped up in that identity so much. That's the reason you went to college. That's the reason you went to that specific college a lot of the times.
Right.
And so as much as you say you're going for other things, that's usually one of the top priorities on your list. And so once you've been, so intertwined with that identity, and then you're done. You had your last day, it was senior day, playoffs, you lose, and it's over. You're just like, all right, now I have to move on. Is there any way I can be assisted in this moving on, because my identity has been in this for so long?
Absolutely. And you have probably not only seen that in your own personal life, but in your colleagues, your fellow teammates' lives as well.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been an interesting transition to kind of go through it myself, but also have my former teammates going through it, or friends that I've grown up with that I were able to make it to the professional league, but they had to retire at 22, 23 because, they weren't getting any more jobs. So it was really interesting because I grew up around sports to be able to have almost my first pilot study per se with just my friends and my teammates to kind of look at this and be like, I think this is an area that needs to be addressed, which has been addressed a little bit before, but not as much as I think can be helpful for all the athletes around the world.
Right. Well, and it's so important for you to have that voice, I feel like, as a former athlete, and also for someone like me that was not a former athlete in school, and we oftentimes, looking on the outside of that world, don't understand the time commitment, the emotional commitment, the life commitment it is to playing sports and at a university level. And we just see the glory, the esteemed regard with which you're given, and to not really understand or even consider what life is like outside of that. So it was really interesting to I had no idea of what that might look like for an athlete until we spoke